Hello and welcome to Money Monkey Africa, your go-to financial podcast. I'm your host, Mutheu Mbuvi, and today our guest is an amazing millennial entrepreneur. His name is Sean Karanja. He's an alumni of African Leadership Academy and soon to be an alumni of African Leadership University, where he's just completing his business management, degree, and it's been 4 years. Sean, it's been 4 years.
Yeah.
Full scholarship.
Yeah.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
So how I know you, is through Project Exponential.
Yes.
This is a community you began in
2017.
2017?
Yeah.
Actually, it was a part of it during the COVID season.
Right.
And man, it really helped me.
Yeah.
Like, being kids in COVID season and you're like, okay, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I honestly, personally, for me, a goal was I don't want to gain weight in this period.
Yeah.
So how am I going to work out and not gain weight, etc.?
Yeah.
And then just Omina giving me a link for Project Exponential. Yeah. And I was like, whoa, there are people like this. Yeah. So let's start our conversation in Project Exponential.
Yeah.
It started in 2017. High school students, about 900 students you've mentored on skills or how to become the best version of themselves and their value.
Yeah.
So how did it all begin?
Yeah. So first of all, of course, thanks for having me.
Welcome.
It's an absolute pleasure to be here to meet your team.
Mm-hmm.
And Money Monkey is up to really cool stuff. So
Thank you so much.
It's a privilege to be a part of it this early.
Yeah.
So that I say, hey, I know those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just like you said, my name is Sean.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, Project Exponential was something that I started in 2017.
Yeah.
So a bit of context, right? So I had just graduated from the African Leadership Academy in Joburg. Those were the 2 best years of my life. I mean,
Awesome.
you go there and, my mind was blown. I really got a deep sense of appreciation and love for entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Especially entrepreneurship in Africa.
Yeah.
And just recognizing that, as young people, we do have a responsibility to empower those around us.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, you're going to be my peer. We're going to be out in the marketplace. We already technically are. We're doing similar stuff, working together, etc. It's in our best interests to be connected to like-minded people and to build things that matter and that help the world and our continent as a whole. So I graduated in 2017, so that was like A-levels. And so I had a couple of uni offers and I just decided, you know what, let me defer this for the next year.
Yeah.
I had to really convince my parents that I wanted to take a gap year. And the main premise for that was, look, I've been taught all these interesting things about entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Entrepreneurship is not something you read in a book. It's something that you go out and you do as a person, And so I recognize that entrepreneurs are not idea people. They are doers. They have ideas, but at the end of the day, they do. So I said, let me take a year off to do stuff. I had no idea what I was going to do. At the time, I'd gone to a couple of programs. I'd done some stuff in like Silicon Valley, I had some exposure to like the startup world.
Yes.
And I was starting to flesh out some of my ideas. Something that many people don't actually know about me is that I started off my entrepreneurial journey in the energy industry, actually.
Oh, okay.
Like that was a space that I really thought, there's so much potential.
Yeah.
And as a kid, I was always a tinkerer. So I figured out how to like suck it, how to like play with my remote control cars and like undo them and like figure out the circuitry. I was such a nerd.
Yeah. You are.
And so...
Are you?
Yeah. And so I was just like, you know what? I've been on YouTube and I've seen some people who, are trying to create these free energy generators. I was like, wow, free energy. Imagine free energy for all Africans.
Yes.
So I went to ALA with that dream. I studied physics and quickly learned that the rules of thermodynamics are quite against the concept of free energy. At least the way I was thinking about it. Right?
Okay, yes.
And so I was just like, okay, how can energy be distributed to people, this, that? So I ended up going to Silicon Valley for a summer program in 2016. And that's when I learned about like blockchain technology and the applications of blockchain in energy. So I had this concept of like, using blockchain to like decentralize how electricity is like generated from clean sources and like distributed. Like, it was a really cool concept. When I have a couple million, I'll venture back into that. But I quickly realized that, okay, this thing, it's capital intensive. I'm not gonna really be able to do it. Let me park it on the side. And so I came back home on my gap year and you know what? I was finding it very hard to find an internship or somewhere to like work because like you barely have skills. We want to see your papers, this, that.
Yes.
And when I was in the States, it's crazy because you go to a store, there's a 16-year-old who's serving you, this, that.
Yes.
Young people get employment and opportunities to upskill themselves and get exposure early, and the systems that do that. So I came back home and I was really unsatisfied with what I was seeing. I was just like, I'm what was I like 18, 19? I'm finding it hard to just get a simple job. Everyone wants you to have 5 years of experience. Or this, that. Like, this is ridiculous. So I started Project Exponential, and the main purpose there was, can we work with high schools and basically teach people stuff like entrepreneurship, these 21st century skills like problem solving, human-centered solution design, that kind of stuff. And most importantly, just letting young guys know that it's okay to be ambitious. It's okay to have dreams.
Yes.
Here's a formula and a playbook and resources that would allow you to act on those things.
Come on.
Yeah, Project Exponential, I mean, it's been running for a minute now, and some of the work we did, we had about like 5 or so partner schools over our time, and just creating like co-curricular content that like these schools would use in either their career development and university guidance departments. In like Rusinga, for example, we had an after-school club for like the entrepreneurs. So I mean, like we did really cool stuff. And also we were running a gap year program during COVID time.
Yes.
As well as just like a community, what's called a
campfire.
So I mean, I really got to test my theory that young people need spaces that are for them, by them, and they're given resources that allow them to scale their careers, lives, and businesses. So yeah, that's a bit about Project Exponential.
Come on, yes. You've heard the guy. He went to Silicon Valley, Draper University, and just this whole value for value. And in terms of, I've realized something when you were talking, like Africa. African Leadership University, and how has that experience been in terms of, you went to Silicon Valley. There were spaces where youth can work and find money, but in Africa, it's so hard to start. So hard to get just a short, like, go to Big Square and be offered a job. So how can we as Africans just start in terms of money and getting a job? Because even with Money Monkey Africa.
Edit that out.
No, it's cool. It's raw and real. So with Money Monkey Africa, we're telling people to invest. We're telling people how to get into business, but with capital, and just where to get the money from. How should a young person look in terms of how, where should I start? Money,
Perfect. So the money conversation is one that I always found a bit difficult.
Yes.
Or rather, I always wanted to have lots of money, this, that. I had great ideas. But I really started learning about money when I now had to ask for it from a client or from a potential employer.
Yes.
And my journey with that has been, it mostly actually really solidified around university time when now in 2018 I got I started at the African Leadership University. And going to uni in Mauritius, it was interesting because you go to this place that's a tropical island that's really, it's very touristy, which means it's also like a bit pricey. And, at that time, my team was really scattered because a lot of us were at the same stage of life, right? At Project Exponential, which means a lot of us were starting university, and some people were going to different far-flung areas of the world. So, number one, I found it difficult to monetize Project Exponential, for example. So a lot of the work we were doing, I was just like, you know what? A lot of this is proof of concept. I'm not trying to make money. How can I now figure other ways around me to do that, right? And so one of the things that I started off with was asking myself, what are my talents, right? Like, what am I good at? And what would someone pay me for, right? And one of the things that I figured out was that throughout the course of my education up to that point, I had learned how to become a really good problem solver. So I was able to, I could go online, whatever, figure out, okay, there's an issue here, there's a this. Put together some research, some data, and like put together a solution. I'd really been in so many spaces where that was something that was cultivated in me. So I realized, okay, which industries would I be able to tap into that this type of skill would be paid for, I could go and work. And consulting came first in mind, where I was like, I could actually be a really good consultant. If I think about it, I'm curious, I can present stuff well, I'm able to pitch something. So some of my more entrepreneurial traits, I started figuring out, okay, in a 9-to-5 type of setting, where can I use it? And so that led me to my first internship, which I ended up going to Ghana, actually. And, one way that it started was, it started as a conversation with one of my friend's uncles. So she was like, hey, I see you're interested in consulting. My uncle is actually pretty high up in one of the top consulting firms globally. You should talk to him. And literally I just shot my shot.
Let's go.
Got the guy's details, started talking, and I used the angle of mentorship. So I was just like, okay, if I'm young, I'm ambitious, I have lots of interesting things I want to do. Who is already doing it? Can I befriend them and enter with okay, I'm not asking for anything, I just want a mentorship. If I can get in the room with that person, I was just like, logically speaking, I should be able to get a job or something, right? And so that relationship actually, we had been speaking for like about 5 or so months. We talk like every 2-3 weeks. And really what I was doing was learning. Because I was just like, I don't know everything. This guy I know he's a multi-millionaire. He's very low-key, but you do math, you just look at math, you're like, there's no way this guy is suffering.
Wow.
And so at some point of just me showing value and me wanting to learn, he was just like, okay, this is a guy who I can trust with a project or something. So he was just, so I told him, hey, look, I'm looking for internships. This is going to be my first internship, whatever. I've put together my CV, which was very blunt because I had like no work experience. Because it's weird, I started with entrepreneurship. So someone's asking, what's your work experience? And I'm like, well, I tried to found this thing and it's kind of sort of working. And so I was afraid that I wouldn't get far with that. But you see, that skill of problem solving, now I got an internship to go to Ghana and help him with a project, which was actually in education. Because Project X, I was working on educating people. So it was an interesting mix there of, okay, I have a problem solving skill set and I'm also interested in the education space. This guy was just like, I want to build the Harvard of elementary schools. I'm very busy with my work. Come to Ghana, you help me figure this thing out. So literally, I knew he'd be paying for like my tickets, whatever. Me, I didn't think I was getting a salo or anything. Like I just didn't know. But my logic was, this guy's a baller. Will he let me suffer? Will he really let me suffer? No. So I was in the plane when now he texted me and he was like, I'll give you a small stipend. It was not small. It was the most money I was in my entire life at that point. Like, wow. And it was just a function of, okay, now I know I need to go there and prove myself. So I spent like 3 or so months in Ghana, just by myself, Accra, up and down, doing my part and just proving that, you've entrusted me with this thing and deliver. so that was my first internship, which now led to, where I am now. I work in consulting also. And, again, it's that thing of, do I have a high income skill that I can monetize?
Yes.
But most importantly, now that I started to earn a bit, I started now getting into the conversation of, okay, how can I make this thing multiply? Right? I'm trading time for money, but how can now my money be
working for you while you sleep? Yeah. So let's get into that. Let's talk forex and crypto. You're a professional forex trader and crypto trading and investing. So how did you get into that now?
Right. So it's right after that internship. I mean, I had a lot
of money.
A bit of money,
Child was balling.
I was just like, wow, if I'm left with this just by myself, I'm blowing it all.
Yes.
And so up to that point, I had a good understanding of stuff like the stock market, etc. Again, I'm a bit nerdy, I'm a bit curious. Like, I'd watched the YouTube videos, I'd watched the this, that. So I knew my way around. I mean, in my head, though. I knew what was. I knew what a stock was. But I didn't know how to open my laptop and now figure out how is this thing moving? How do I make money off of it? So, and a start to that was just, I found, a bunch of online courses and stuff. And I started teaching myself how to trade. Along the way, I did find a couple of mentors here and there, because that mentorship thing for me, I realized that if it's worked in the past with this consulting thing, I was able to get into the industry and I'm good. Like, can I do the same for forex? So here and there, I'd find a couple of people who had courses, this, that, I'd sign up, I'd start trading, and so that was around, I'd say late 2019, beginning 2020, when I actually I sat down with one of my friends and I said, guys, we have to do this thing. So I started trading, specifically forex, because it looked like something that, okay, you can have some good leverage here, with a little you can make something sufficient. To be honest, I found stocks just a bit plain and boring. I was like, hiya, you're telling me it's in my head, the way I interpreted it was, you have to have a lot of money to make good money, especially with dividends or whatever. You don't buy 2 stocks of Safaricom and
expect to be a millionaire.
You're not. But I saw with forex, I could put that $20 into something, and I could trade. It's called arbitrage, right? So you're making money off the price difference of a currency, right? So let's say you see how right now the Kenya shilling versus the US dollar, it's been depreciating over time.
A lot.
You could make money off of that by positioning yourself as a seller. You get you're making money as the price is going down, right? And so I liked that you could take 2 sides of the coin, right? If an asset or commodity, whatever is depreciating, you could be on the selling side, or you could be on the buying side, and you could use some smart leverage there to make some good money. So I liked the sound of forex. Of course, how YouTube and IG are. Once you start typing FOREX, hey, all your ads now, cha. Oh, I'm a millionaire by 21. You see a lot of this stuff. And it's exciting at first, but you realize that it takes a lot of work. So I started trading. I mean, it was up and down. But I think after the first year, now that's when I started really getting profitable. And I just did what I did with Project Exponential, where it's who else is doing this? Who else is my age? Who else is in my area? Can we come together and do this together? So on the side, I'd teach or mentor a couple of people, a cousin or two here, there, hey guys, let's do this together. And that built a small community. And so we used to trade together, etc. And by virtue of having gone to Silicon Valley earlier, I had an understanding of blockchain, cryptocurrency. And so also while I was at Silicon Valley, that was back when I think one Bitcoin was $300 or something, and we were given free Bitcoin at that.
You were given?
Did you at that thing?
Did you hold it?
I did for the most part. It was 0.6 BTC. which ended up being quite a bit of money. And I used a lot of that to like fund my trading.
Wow.
Much to my regret at some points, because I was like, damn, I just lost.
I wish I had a whole Bitcoin right now.
I should have not used that, man.
Yeah.
You know, but I think it was a really interesting and rewarding journey, which actually led me to starting an investment fund. At some point, I was like, you know what, I'm making a lot of money for myself. More money than I'd ever seen. My parents were just like, what's this thing you do? Like, you've not asked us for money for the longest time. Like, you're just going where, traveling here, this, that. And so their main concern was, is this distracting you from school? You know? Because it was. I mean, I'm able to. At some point. You know, I had trader friends. You know, traders are a bit, I don't know, man. We're a bit over the top. Hey, you've gone where? This
trip, vacation, everything.
It was a bit something. Good and bad, because you see, the thing is, you're young, and before then, you never had any reason to build financial discipline. Yes. Right. And now all of a sudden, you're making more money than you've seen in ever. Yes. And you don't have a foundation of how do I deal with this, right? So this manifested in two ways. Number one, discipline around like something like saving. I would never save, because my logic was, I put away this $100. What? I could trade it. I could double it. I could, you know, that was my logic. And it was sound for, in one way or another, in the sense of, okay, it makes sense. Yeah, money should work for you. But you have no reserves, you know. Yeah. And so this was during now the boom, you know, Bitcoin boom, everything is all-time highs. It was a great time. Yeah. And I like to say that I was a millionaire for 4 months. Hey, we're sorry. That's amazing. Because now COVID started coming. And you know, at first it's like, okay, we're managing. Hey, let me tell you, these strains started to multiply. There was COVID Pro Max, MSG, COVID Who. Yeah. Markets went into turmoil. And you see, as a trader who learned how to trade when everything was good, booming, you have no toolkit for what to do in a bear market, right? Yes. When everything is like going down. And so that was now when my risk management started to come into question. Also, remember, I had started an investment fund also. Yeah. And that was going well for about a year, where it's like, you know, I was taking on money from like friends, you know, close family. I kept it a bit tight-knit, like at first. And I was like, okay, you know, let's see where this can go. Yeah. You know, they loved me. That wow, they're making so much. Yeah, when you give people money, you know. And I was just like, wow, you know what? You know, you watch Wolf of Wall Street. Yes. And you're just like, that's me. That's me. You know, where's my yacht coming through? You know, you buy nice stuff. You go places. It's great. But again, sometimes you get into that euphoria state of, there's no way this can go wrong. Yeah. I'm such a brilliant trader. And so craziest things happened now when now the market starts to crash. Yeah. Right. And they're holding a big basket where you basically, I did not diversify. Right. Everything was just in one place. Yeah. And markets just started doing what markets have been doing and are still currently doing, like right now. Right. You know, and so it was a roller coaster, because again, I told you I was a millionaire for 4 months. Yes. Because when things started to crash, that meant that my money started to disappear. It started to, I was just like, wow, it's going. Yeah. Like, now you start to panic. Yeah. One thing, guys, never panic when you're investing. Panic investing and emotions should be in two separate rooms, not knowing what each other look like. And something I was telling Wangeshi actually is that money has no emotions. It doesn't. You should put your emotions in money. Because it doesn't have any emotions. Yeah, exactly. It's absolutely mad. Yeah. And so my fund was literally liquidated in the span of 2 weeks. Oh my God. From millionaire to... So I've spent about like 3 or so years building my skill set, money. Yeah. It took 2 weeks. I was back to basically zero. Yeah. Now, Next challenge. See, you had invested other people's money also.
Where's my money?
Where's my money? We thought you were such a good trader. We thought you were... Now I was like...
Yeah.
And, you know, now it's like, damn, okay. Luckily, you know, I had like a contract or two that I you know, when I started getting a bit sophisticated, you know, I had those in place.
Hey, nice.
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Just do it. No matter how good you are in whatever you're doing. I think now it's something that you learn in hindsight, and I've learned. Don't take external capital if you don't have to. Same thing for entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
If you've got a startup, yeah, you really believe in it. Yeah, you're really good. You don't need the extra eye over your shoulder, pressure. I also made the mistake of inviting like 2 guys who I didn't know into the family.
Oh,
you know,
my God.
Like someone who was already in, like, invited some other guy, and they're like, my cousin, please,
sour. Family.
Like, okay, it's fine. And so you find that, okay, family and friends, you're able to talk to them.
Yeah.
It's like, they get it, you know. It is what it is. Yeah. Now these strangers, someone God. Is like sending you death threats, and someone wants to like, I want to sue you. You know? Yeah. And at first I was very intimidated and I was very scared.
Yeah.
You know, I've lost everything. I'm borderline depressed. No, I was depressed.
You were depressed.
I had school, you know.
You were still in school that time?
Still in school.
What?
Hey, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Roller coaster of emotions.
Oh, man.
And I was just like, guys, I even had to take like a semester break from school, because I was like, this is immense.
Yeah.
And it's something that I keep telling people, not everyone should be an entrepreneur. Like, you know, when you're an entrepreneur, what you're doing is you are taking on risk. Yeah, there's profits. Yeah, there's upside.
Yeah.
But recognize that when things go south, it's you. When people need to be laid off, it's you.
Yeah.
When you have to have those tough conversations, when someone is taking you to court, it's you. You know, like, so you have to know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
No matter how nice and shiny things look.
Yeah, the CEO title. Everyone wants to be a CEO. But I don't know. I feel the title CEO. Don't call me CEO. Please, let me just be there, up, comes up. Then we can start talking names.
You know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But you see, one thing that, and I keep telling people about, you know, your journey to creating financial sustainability for yourself. Is okay. So, for example, you know, I started trading and it had been going well for a long time. That's enough evidence for me to say I want to do this for life and whatever. Yeah. I still have that great skill set. Right now, I mean, I still have a couple of investments here and there. But you see, the reason why I didn't stay in my depressed state and give up on life was because I recognized that, okay, I have a fallback, which is a high value skill set, right? So when young people are thinking of, I want to invest my money, it's like, okay, how about you create a high value skill set first, which enables you to even have the income in the first place to invest this money. You see how I started my investment fund and trading with money from an internship. You know? So all I did was just tell myself, you know what? You're really sad right now. The world feels like it's ending. I mean, like, who do you go and talk to? You know, like, even my friend group, you know, I just lost interest in, like, everything, everyone. You know, it's really hard. It was the worst time of my life.
Sorry.
But, you know, now I ask myself, okay, what grounds you and why did you do this in the first place? You know? There's imposter syndrome now of damn, this has failed. It has failed in front of people. You know, people have called you things and you've called yourself things, and there's an element of am I who I thought I was? You know, like, you doubt yourself. Entrepreneurship and failure.
Hey man, because you don't think you will fail ever.
Exactly.
And that's the mistake.
You know?
Yeah.
So I really had to go back to my foundation, right? I went back to things like my faith, for example. I'm a Christian, and I was just like, okay, it's not what crypto markets say about me. It's what God says I am.
God says, come on.
Crypto markets have told me I am broke now. who am I and what's my value?
Yeah.
So I really had to step back from markets a bit and just be like, okay. At some point, I was able to make money to start this thing.
Yeah.
If it's gone south, what is the skill set I have that will allow me to become an investor now? I now have learned my lessons and whatever. How do I get back on track?
Yeah.
I went back to my skill set. I started looking for work. When I was in Mauritius, I used to do professional emceeing for corporate events, this, that.
Okay.
So that allowed me to do two things. Network.
Yeah.
So I was able to network with guys there, able to find work here and there. But also I was charging people for this high value skill I have. I'm a good communicator, right? I started looking for work here and there, got some consulting gigs. I do like freelancing for different projects, companies. And all of this was building my self-confidence back, because it's shattered. So I was able to build that back. You start to make some money back and it's like, okay, actually, life didn't end at that point. And you take the lessons from before. And I was just like, okay, I was running before I had the equipment and skill set to run. Yeah. Let's not run again. Let's walk. Maybe these stocks that I was looking down on that are so boring. Maybe I should
attend them.
Maybe I should do that. And so I was able to build a lot better financial discipline around. I have a high value skill set. I'm able to get paid for it. What do I do with the money I'm paid for? And so going back to very traditional things like, maybe it's I started a podcast. This was during this tumultuous times. I was just like, what will give me joy and what will put me out there? So that's when I started Boardroom Banter.
So you had started it.
Yeah, like in the middle of crisis. That's when I started Boardroom Banter. Yeah. And it was such a source of like, I'm able to get on there with like my good friends. We're all entrepreneurs. We share lessons. We encourage each other. We talk to guests from all sorts of places. So I'm in a space of learning again, and and so building back that confidence to now a place where I'm like, okay, I could trade for myself now off my phone. This, that, like my skill set is still there. But what I had to figure out was build back confidence, build back income, and a lot of that just had to do with the foundation, which was my skill set.
Wow. So, okay.
Yeah, it's been. You guys think people look at guys?
People think that Sean is. Yeah.
Hey, let me tell you.
Kulikuwa kubaya at some point.
Only my journal knows what I was going through, man.
Wow. So you journal?
I do.
And something, I've learned from you is in terms of a millennial entrepreneur, people want to just shoot it up and just go straight from my parents' house to a house that my parents also built by myself, from, let's say we live in Kilimani to also me living in Kilimani alone, and you don't understand the process that your parents had to go through to get there, and skill stacking. That's also something, even when we were in Project Exponential, like you were repeated, what can you sell to the world? What value can you sell to the world for you to get value? Because people just want value without them having any value. So how can I make money? How's money working for me? And okay, how are you working for the money?
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
So, as like, man, I've learned so much, like your story for, failure from millionaire to in 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
And I'll be back to millionaire soon. Like,
come on.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
It's understanding that it's not a linear process.
Yes.
It's okay. It's great at the beginning.
Yeah.
You've got that motivation and you're like, this thing, if I do it. And I mean, forex isn't the first thing I failed at. I mean, I'd done an e-commerce business at some point with my cousin during my gap year also.
Oh, wow.
Failed catastrophically. But again, we weren't doing it from a place of maybe it could work. Full conviction.
It's going to work.
And so that didn't work out also. But you see, there's lessons and skills you learn. Like from there, I learned stuff like digital marketing, like search engine optimization, how to copyright, like typing out these ad things. setting up an online store. You don't think in hindsight, in foresight, that these skills might be translated to something else. But you see now in like my consulting work or something, when we work with different companies, I'm able to understand things a lot better.
Yeah.
Because there was that process I went through of trial and error, which I think everyone should go through. If your thing hasn't worked out, move to the next. Move to the next. Move to the next. People think a lot of these billionaires out there, that was the first.
That was the first one.
Yeah, let me tell you, guys are selling the randomest, most weirdest business ideas ever. Until they stumbled on something that worked.
I think it's because of the society we've grown up in. African society teaches you that it's bad to fail.
Right.
Like it should go from one point to another.
Yeah.
That's how life is.
Yeah.
If you're we're not told so many fail stories. We're told the successes, and you're like, I want to be like that person. And then it doesn't work out, and then you're like, oh no, I'm a failure. I'm done. No. So let me just ask, you've traveled a lot in Africa and just the whole area. What was your favorite trip? Yeah. And what did you learn from it?
Right. So when I was doing my gap year, I got the chance to go to Milan, Italy.
Hey, okay.
And
yes.
I was one of the people putting together a workshop at a conference. So there's a global youth conference that I had gone for. It was being run by an organization called Education First. They were calling it the Global Leadership Summit. And so so I spent about 2 weeks out in Italy, just me and a friend of mine. And we were now co-running that workshop.
Wow.
So for a bunch of young people from all over the world. And so, recognizing, I think what that trip did for me, number one, was I realized that, the ability to equip other people with something is something that I shouldn't take for granted. And the fact that I enjoyed doing it in the first place means that, it could have something to do with what my ultimate purpose is. So that if I didn't go for that trip, actually, I wouldn't have started Project Exponential, because that's something I did immediately after. As much as the Silicon Valley trip was really cool, and that was also, those two are really going head to head in terms of
which one is
the best. But the Milan one was significant because I saw the joy of someone realizing, wow, I can do something, wow, you've really impacted my life. And it validated my need to just double down on what I enjoy, and I now had to ask myself, how do I make a business out of this? So I liked that experience. And Milan was great. I saw lots of Ferraris, and I was like, I want one of those. How many businesses must I flip and sell
just to get a Ferrari?
But it was a really great trip, and opened my mind to my purpose.
And your hobbies, you love reading,
Yes, I do.
So what books about finance have opened your mind about money and everything?
So there's a book called The Richest Man in Babylon.
Oh, I love it. That was my favorite.
I mean, the fact that stories and parables were used to show a simple relationship that humans can have with money. So that whole analogy of you have a bit of gold.
Yes.
Invest it somewhere or make it work for you, and it'll bear quote unquote children.
Yes.
And can you make the children of that gold also work for you, multiply and make more children, and now you have generations of gold, that are just multiplying for you. I think that was a concept that brought to mind and solidified the concept of compounding interest, right? So, I mean, I used to, even when I was trading, that's a concept that I really stuck to, compounding, right? Because I mean, I didn't start trading with a lot of money because most of your learning experience you're actually losing. You know.
Oh my God.
So
yeah.
So you know, by the time you've compounded like $100 to like 1,000, by the time now you've reached tens of thousands, there's an almost mathematical and systematical way that percentages can work in your favor.
Yeah.
Whether you're making 2% here, 3% here, 4%, 2%, 2%, it builds. And the 2% of your principal amount that you put today, when it makes another 2%, that 2% is more than the previous one.
Yeah.
You know, like,
true.
And with time, which is what us, you know, in our, you know, Gen Z generation, for example, we have a lot of compounding interest is, you know, I think it was Albert Einstein who said compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. Because at the end of the day, if you're able to put your money somewhere and it grows by a certain percent, and another, you know, when I read Richest Man in Babylon, my mind was blown. I was like, wow, my goal has to make children, and its children have to work for me, and its children's, you know. Yeah, but we're not about slavery here. It's an analogy.
Yes.
It's your money working for you.
Exactly. And, you know, I mean, the question has just escaped my mind. I don't know why. But, yeah. It's all gone. I don't know why. I was just thinking about the children. So
something about generational wealth.
Yeah, generational wealth. And okay, actually speaking about that, a conversation I've had with different people is that we rarely think about how is this money, we just want money for ourselves, like the pleasure, the life, the travel, and we rarely, as Africans, even Vusi talks about it, you know, we rarely talk.
I love him.
Yeah, same. Vusi, we love you. Anyway, so he talks about that entrepreneurs are thinking, you know, this is my shop, I want money, this kind of, the kiosk, you remain in the kiosk and don't get out into the world.
Yes.
Yeah. So
is this from his talk, The Myth of Small Business? There was something around that.
Actually, I listened to a lot of him, so I don't know where this is coming from. But how, because you are a global mind, how do we position ourselves as global minds? Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, that's a good question, because one thing that I learned when I went to the States, Silicon Valley, you know, we interacted with a lot of like the top venture capitalists in the area, guys who are running incubators, accelerators, but also founders who are building cool stuff. I mean, I saw some guy who was trying to make us live forever, you know. Another guy who gave us a lecture was, you know, building flying cars. I mean, those guys are crazy.
Yeah.
And one thing that I picked up from all of them is when they have a business plan, not all, but many of the ones who get to scale, they're thinking global about the distribution of their product or service, right? When we sometimes build something, you know, like a podcast or you know, someone starts a natural hair business, right? And it's like, okay, I have shea butter products, and I've done my own packaging in my kitchen, whatever. Fun fact, I was part of a student enterprise at some point at ALA. We did like hair butter. I love it because we get free stuff.
Wow, that's
anyway,
nice.
So one thing that sometimes we as Africans don't take advantage of is the fact that we can compete on a global scale. Right?
Yeah.
Who said that Money Monkey podcast has to be just distributed within Africa, right?
Yeah.
The tech exists for us to, you know, scale solutions globally. The talent also exists, and is being developed to push things out into a global market.
Yeah.
And you know, when we limit ourselves to me and my small business, or me and my small startup, or me and my side hustle, it will forever remain that, because in your psychology as a founder, you've not seen your product or service in the hands of someone in China, someone in India, someone in, you know, Italy, right? You are just like guy, will they even know about this share butter thing? Maybe let me just work with the guys who are in my neighborhood or from my school or from my church. And I think what would lead to you having a global mindset is perhaps getting exposure. I think exposure helps. Exposure in the sense of, do you know what's out there? Right? Like once you have an understanding and you've gone on YouTube, you've watched stuff and you've seen these startups who are solving this problem, there's this, this. When you get an appreciation of the opportunity that is available globally, you can then start to more easily position yourself as a global entrepreneur.
Yes.
Right? When you start to understand, okay, how can tech help me to scale my solution across geographies? Then only can you start to identify as a global entrepreneur, because as long as you don't think that you can do something, you won't do it. Or if you don't think it's possible, even by way of you having seen other people do it, there's only so far you'd go. So I'd say like focusing on exposure and just knowing what's out there and understanding that you can be a part of it.
Yes.
It's 90% of the game.
Come on. I love that. Like, put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Yes. And there's so many opportunities. Yeah. And that's how I honestly also came here in Money Monkey Africa. Yeah. So, guys, it's been such an amazing podcast. 45 minutes and we're still talking and there's more. But if you want to catch Sean in terms of fun questions, look at our Instagram and our other socials. And I hope you love this conversation. If you have other questions for Sean, please feel free to shoot them on our comment section and hopefully you'll reply.
I will reply.
Yeah. So tell us your socials so that people know, I stalk you on LinkedIn and etc. and Instagram. But tell us what's your socials.
I mean, on almost every platform, it's Sean Karanja.
Yes.
So Instagram at Sean_Karanja, Twitter at Karanja Sean.
Yeah.
I love Twitter.
You love Twitter? Interesting. You should tell me how to be on Twitter.
More on Twitter than any other platform.
Yeah, true.
Twitter and TikTok, surprisingly. My TikTok is very educational.
Okay.
Social media can be a whole university. Where
true.
else? LinkedIn also, Sean Karanja. Yeah, so reach out. Let me know that you heard me on the Money Monkey podcast.
Yes.
And I'll definitely follow you back, or we can have a chat.
Awesome.
I like coffee. Take me out for coffee.
Come on. Shoot your shot. I single. Sure. Anyway, they'll ask that.
They can ask me in the DM.
Yes. Anyway, that was such an amazing podcast. Thank you so much, Sean, for coming and gracing us with and teaching us so much about your skill. What do you bring on the table for you to be actually on the table? Yeah. And if you want to start investing, you have to have the money. So how can you earn? Listen back. You can come back and listen. Network with Sean and network with us on Money Monkey Africa. This was our first podcast session with our amazing guest, and it's been amazing. Thank you so much, and subscribe to Money Monkey Africa.